Welcome everyone, and today's presentation is ACE, American Council of Education, Reinventing Sakai by Miguel Pellicer and Julian Farmer. Miguel is the CTO at EDF, one of our Sakai commercial affiliates. He's a very active Sakai community member and a member of the Spanish Sakai team. And we also have Julian Farmer from NOODLE Partners. So I will go ahead and turn it over to you guys.
Thank you, Wilma.
Thank you.
Julian, would you mind starting with the presentation about NOODLE Partners, please?
For sure. So NOODLE Partners, we about 12 years ago, we were a company that was not in existence, but 12 years ago, the primary partners and the primary people in this company took online education to a whole new sphere, into a whole new realm, providing top-tier US universities with the wherewithal to put master's degrees online. The express goal of that was to reduce student costs, particularly in America. A lot of you probably know there's quite a crunch here for costs in America to attending universities. And so a few years ago, the principal partner of the company set out a loan to reinvent online program management in a far more open way, using a far more transparent way, letting universities participate far more deeply in the programs that were being offered from their schools. Everything from marketing all the way through to student support, placement, if there's a clinical aspect, instructional design, running of their learning management systems, and all that, just everything that goes into a degree. And so we've been working with, we've been growing 3 or 4 times faster than any other program manager since online programming has started. I think, in the 3 years of our previous company, we were four programs, 3 universities at year 3. We're at year 3 now, and we're at 31 programs and 20 universities. So it's a model that is reducing costs at the moment quite dramatically for universities. As we add on more and more universities, that sort of is spreading the cost out a bit, because what we use is great providers and great things that are out there. And so we've come into contact with Miguel and his team there in Spain, and we've started working with Sakai with a couple of our programs, and for this program in particular. And so we outsource everything, and the university gets to see it and sort of have a hand on the wheel, if you will, to help us manage everything that goes into putting on successful, scalable online degrees. What I do is I work on special projects. I don't work directly with the schools. I work on what else can we bring into the network of universities that we work with. And so one of them is the American Council on Education. They're the biggest. They're 103 years old. They are a large think tank based in Washington, D.C. They are higher educational leaders. Their members are almost exclusively universities and institutions. I think they have some 1,800 members, and universities, the names you'd recognize, right from Harvard and Yale, down to small community colleges. And the members consist usually of provosts, presidents, and university leaders. They also have several organizations and another association of chief academic officers, for instance. So they have several other associations on there as their members. They have a new president who has worked for the Obama administration in the Department of Education. And when he came on a couple of years ago, he realized that 102 years as it was then, 101 years it was then, was still offering very much the same sort of things institutions have been offered for the majority of the time they've been in existence. And so he realized it was time to change. And the way that they decided to change was to build, what they were hearing from members was that they needed a secure peer-to-peer platform, the way they could network with each other, they could foster community, they could enable action, they could catalyze learning amongst each other. So it's sharing of information across a whole variety of subjects that possibly shouldn't be discussed in the public domain. And so they were looking for a solution and a way that they could put on a lot of the content that they'd curated, a lot of archived white papers and interviews, courses that they'd curated over the years. They wanted a way that they could connect the educators so that they could help their staff to improve with certain programs, and also connect member universities in a way that they could discuss very sensitive issues, race relations, things like that, mental health on campus. We all know, there's an issue with violence on campus sometimes. So a way that educators regionally, nationally could connect, and a way that they could share their experiences, again, in a very secure place that wouldn't be for public consumption, for the press, anything like that. It would be a place that a provost of a university could talk to 2 or 3 other provosts. And it's, as it says there, still real-time discussions on relevant campus issues. And so this is what we've been doing, is building a platform and a site that can connect university leaders to do exactly what I mentioned, and that's to enable action, catalyze learning, and foster a community amongst these very high level individuals in the biggest universities in the United States and across the world. Actually, they do have some associations with links with associations, internationally as well. So it is something that is going to link together not just universities across the globe, but it's also going to be able to link associations, other think tanks, and thought leaders as well. That's us, and that's American Council on Education. So the tenet when we started was a lot of university leaders, typically across the world. A provost of a university, a leader of a university, is 62 years old, and actually female. And so what we realized was some perhaps didn't have Facebook, some didn't have Twitter, some didn't have LinkedIn, but they had something. And so what we decided to do, that the way that we could deliver this experience is to build something that is easy to navigate, intuitive, and has familiarity. So if you didn't have any of all of the above, you had one of the above, and you look at our site that Miguel has been brilliantly developing, you will have familiarity. You'll understand. You'll see something there that you recognize across some of the platforms, whereas it doesn't. We haven't copied them at all, but we've made things, again, intuitive, familiar, easy to navigate, easy to use. These are busy working professionals who after a lot of research, we've found typically have between 12 and 14 minutes a day of their own time. They're leading big universities, and they don't get time to study, to learn. If they have a big meeting coming up and there's something on, as I said, maybe mental health, student mental health on campus. Within the library, we will have, or we do have already, short courses on how to deal with it, white papers that have been produced. And so they've got 12 to 14 minutes a day. They have a big meeting tomorrow. They can pop onto the site. They can search for student mental health on campus, and there's going to be a whole array of information there that's for them, so that they can quickly become familiar, quickly have an idea of what they should be doing, thinking, and saying in these meetings, and how perhaps they should be instructing their staff or educating their staff as well, who answer immediately to them. And so the site itself is in a really good state of development at the moment. We're continuing to build, and now we're starting to actually put users on the site and invite members to come to the site. We're getting a lot of feedback, and from that feedback, we're going to improve and modernize the offering that we have. So we started August 2018. We had a pilot in November. Not terribly successful with the pilot. I think there was maybe some hiccups in the marketing and getting the messaging out. But really, in earnest, we got ourselves together a little bit and caught up with the development. And so the development, Dev 2 started in January 2019, and that's when it started to really come alive. And by March of 19, at the 101st annual conference of ACE, we were up and running, and people were getting interest. interested, making comments, giving us feedback, offering to contribute, which is marvelous, contribute content, help us build content. There's a lot of subject matter experts, obviously, in universities across the world when it comes to many of the things that students have to tackle and administrators have to tackle in this day and age. And so we're now finding people wishing to contribute to the site in terms of this incredible content. We're building out a lot of different features to make it, there's a slight push to make it, I'd say, a little more of a social platform. And my worry is we're getting away a little bit from what it was made for. And that's my job is going to be to sort of remind everyone why we're doing this, and to let's not try and be, we need to be different. The institutions have asked for this. There's nothing like this. This is particularly globally, but there's really nothing like it. Universities across the world often have separate ways of communicating, separate systems on the same university and campus. And so, I was at a presentation with a large university recently where the provost was complaining that he would wake up to messages on the Facebook page and discussions that had started overnight on WhatsApp. And so different people complaining and having discussions about things going on in university across several different sites. Now there's a way that a university can have its own grouping page, and they can conduct whatever messaging they would like through this platform, and again, give access to other schools and universities and associations that may be experiencing similar things. So it's a really cool way for universities and associations to communicate and to engage with each other, again, in that sort of secure peer-to-peer way. We have several different types of groups on there. One that's open groups, anyone can join. Groups that are private, which if you're a provost, you would reply to, the provost group, we'll call it. If I'm not a provost, I wouldn't be allowed to enter. I'd be able to see the group, but not see its content or what's going on. And then there's totally closed groups where it's just me and my Liverpool Football Club supporters. And I invite the provost of Harvard, because I know he loves Liverpool as well, because he's in Boston. And so we have our own little group and no one knows about it. So there's different ways that we're going about it to engage and to connect people. But primarily that is really what we're trying to do, is to help universities to identify issues and to discuss them very openly with each other in a very private way. Miguel?
Thank you, Julian. Well, I started, as Julian said, we started the project in 2018. It was a big challenge for me and all the team, because our agenda was a bit tight, and we needed to work with high intensity. And to be honest, we're very happy and very proud to work with them, because they envisioned this project. They created all these designs and all these new ideas, and we just implemented them following their designs. And we worked really hard, but at the same time, I think it's gratifying to have success with the implementation of the tools. So basically, we started from scratch. We started.
I want to just say very quickly to thank you, Miguel, because it's very hard working with a lot of institutions that have very set ways and set ideas, and so there's been a lot of changes and a lot of different ideas. But you've guided us and helped us and been an incredible partner in this. So I just quickly wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you. And I was with the president last week of ACE, who is delighted. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you, Julian. So in this challenge, we needed to rewrite the entire portal, okay? So at this moment in Sakai, we have Morpheus, and everyone knows Morpheus, which is available in 19, 20, and 12, and the 11, but we needed a different approach, so we implemented the AC portal. As I said, we implemented the version 1 in 2018, and we needed to implement a new one this year, because there were changes and a new design. At the same time, we did a portal integration with Zoom, because as Julian said, the collaboration is everywhere. You can invite people and create Zoom events in different parts of the campus, but not at course scope level. Basically, you can create them at portal level, so you can invite everyone and coordinate a meeting. We created a new membership tool. That's why I said the membership tool has been rewritten. We call it My Groups. We rewrote the Commons tool from scratch because we needed a new design and new features like mentions and likes. We wrote a new resources tool, which is the shared files. We rewrote the entire roster UI. We wrote a new UI for the chat. We included more events in bullhorns, and we included push notifications to browsers and mobile devices. And we wrote a new reports tool to display the data to the managers of the campus. Okay, and I'm gonna show you some screenshots about the portal and these components, and I will make a demo after that. So hopefully we will have some time to answer questions. I will try to be fast, okay? So as I said, we wrote the new portal from scratch. We included new layouts, new components, new navigation. We included an onboarding process to make the onboarding easier for newcomer users. We included global tools that are not linked to sites, are linked to the portal. We included user notifications. It's mobile friendly and it's focused on collaboration, engagement, and social learning. We wrote a new login tool, which is this one. Okay, you can create an account with this form, and when a new user logs in, there's an onboarding form where you can provide more data about who you are, who you work for, what's your job title, and you can provide more information. And of course, you should accept the terms of use, the privacy policy, and the code of conduct. Okay, once you save your profile, you're in. So this is the new portal. Okay, and this is the help area. So all the users have help links to check what the different options and help they can receive. But basically, this is the structure of the portal. We have a header, which has several portal tools like the groups, the library, events, learn. So you can access pretty easily all your groups. You have news about their institution. In this case, is the ACE. And the first thing you see is the commons, which is different posts where you can share information. Basically, it's the most important posts that happen in your groups. So this tool gets all the most important posts and shows them in the main screen. So you can answer directly without going to the group, in this case, the site. Okay. In our specific project, groups are sites. In the header, we have the notifications, which display everything that happens in your groups. You have your profile as Sakai, same as Sakai, where you can update your account information, you can log out, you can receive help and support, and you have the option to create an event and a group. An event is a Zoom room event, okay, and a group is a site. So there's a fast way to create a site. You just need to go to create and create a group, okay? As far as I can tell, it needs to be approved by a moderator because the content should be reviewed because we need to take care of the content, okay? To create a group, basically appears this model at portal level, and you should put some information. Basically, the name of your group and describe the group, and you can upload an image. As Julian said, we have three options: the public group, closed group, and private group. Public, everyone can join. Closed, you can request to join, but you should be accepted. And private, you should be invited. Okay. This is the new membership tool, and we call it My Groups. Okay. You have the different groups. I mean sites. You have the different sites that you belong to, and you can browse. You can browse by interest. You can check the information of the group, and you can join. Okay, and you can search groups by name. I think it's a very good improvement to the membership tool, but of course the design is adapted to this portal. so maybe clash a little bit with the existing Morpheus portal. But we're very happy with the user experience because they can find the groups pretty easily, and of course it suggests new sites that you can join based on your interests. And of course you have the option to create a group too. Okay, so this is the library, and you have several contents, and you can check the contents, and you can ping it and put your favorites. You can search based on different topics and different metadata. And in your library, you have the contents you have pinged, so you can access the content pretty easily. And at the same time, you have the option to view the recent contents. So every time you open a content, it appears at the right side of the screen, so you can access that content pretty easily. As Julian said, 2 clicks maximum. In the header, you have the option to create an event. This is the form to create an event. You can put a description, you can put when happens, what's the type of the event, if it's in person, if it's virtual, using Zoom, the main contact, you can put the agenda, you can make it private or public, and you can upload an image. And the widget that appears at the right side is basically the displays the events that are upcoming, the events that belongs to you, and the past events that happened in the past. Okay, maybe you can access the recordings of that event. We rewrote the entire Commons tool, so it's written from scratch. As I said before, you can use it at global context or a site context, which is the group context. Global context is at portal level, in discussions in the portal, in the institution, global discussions. And inside groups, it's a group discussion, okay? You can share any type of file, you can share URLs, it has infinite scrolling. Every time you go bottom, it appears new post and new post and new post. You have the option to like posts, and you have the option to mention users. So basically, this is the new design of Commons. The left side is from development, so nothing to hide. But the right side is from production, so the information is hidden, okay? So it's pretty easy. You can share your thoughts. You have different controls, as you can see, to upload images, videos, or any kind of link. You have the option to like, etc. You can have the option to mention. The shared files is a new UI for the resources tool, but it uses at this moment the resources backend. Okay, you can put the files in folders, and it's integrated with tools, which is a very good idea. Every time a user shares a file in Commons, it appears in resources, which is good. So you don't need to upload the file to resources and then go to the tool and upload the file. No, if you upload the file in any kind of tool, it's automatically stored in resources and displayed to the users, and then you can organize the content in different folders. Okay, the UI is pretty simple, and you can see it here. So I'm sorry, but I protected most of the information of the presidents, but we wrote a new members tool. It's very similar in functionality to roster, but more simple, and it's integrated with the profile and the chat. So this is mostly a group, and you can see the assignments of the group and the roster. You'll see the different members with a photo, and you can add them as a contact, and you can chat with them, and you can check the profile and what organization the users belong, etc. And you can search for users, okay? We implemented a new chat UI, which is integrated with the profile. It has mentions, and it does notifications to the browser. So you can continue working in other websites or browsing in other websites, and you will receive notifications if something happens in the AC portal. And this is how the new portal looks like. Okay, it's pretty similar to Sakai's, to the existing Sakai, but it's a new design. And I would like to talk about the global reports, because these reports were done to the admins. so they can check the usage reports, how many files have been shared, how many posts have been shared, how many comments, how many responses, how many Zoom events have been created, and of course create custom reports based on events. Okay, so this is an example of the global reports. We display the information about how many groups have been created, the public, the closed, the private, how many members per group, what's the most famous group, how many members, and what's the difference between the previous status and the new status. So you can see the trends, okay? Same for the files. It's basically the same structure, but considering the files. How many files, the average number of files per group, group with the most number of files, etc. The same for posts. So it's pretty useful to see what's going on and what are the trends. And every data is compared with the last week information, 7 days. See if the trends are positive or the trends are negatives, okay? So before going to questions, I would like to share my screen. Everyone sees my screen?
Yep.
So this is the server of our of the AC Engage. Okay, as I said, you have the navigation. To go to the groups, you have these controls. So you have all the groups here. So you only need to go to the group, and you will access the group pretty easily. Basically, these are the members of the group. Then you have the post of the group that happens in this group. And as I said, you have the notifications. This is the chat, okay, the global chat. You have the option to create an event, to create a group, and you have also the option to create a group here, okay? Creating a group is simple as that. It appears this component, then fans, in honor to Julian. As I said, you can create public, closed, or private. If you abort the action, then you need confirmation to abort the action. So are you sure you want to leave the process? You can leave the process, or you can continue creating the group, which is pretty useful, okay? Then you can continue. You can upload an image to the group, and you should upload an image to the group to give context. It's mandatory in our project, okay? So after that, then your group will be in the queue, and if an admin approves it, then it will be displayed. Okay, we need to curate the content, so that's the reason why we need to approve the group, because someone can put wrong content there. My groups contains the groups that you belong for. Okay, so you go to the search, you can search pretty easily, and suggest groups that you might be also interested. Okay, so joining a group is simple as that. You can join, and then if you join the group, then you are a member of the group, okay? And if you remove the search component, then you will find the group here, okay? It's here. And at the same time, you can browse. You can browse in different groups. The pending status means that you join the group, you requested to join the group, but you need an approval from the group maintainer, okay? And everything that happens inside the group is displayed here in the notifications. So going to the event is pretty straightforward. Basically, it was a file. As I said, the files, this is the new files tool, and the files come from commons in this case, because they only have commons and shared files. So we don't have the tools listed at the left-hand menu, because we have the tools inside these tabs. Okay, so you can switch the tools here. Okay, and same, if I want to post, website logo, then you only need to click here. Or if you want to add an image, then it's pretty easy to add an image and share it with the rest of the users. Okay, and that's it. I don't think it's a good idea to create events, because people will start receiving notifications. But the events allows you to create an event, and you can see my events and the past events. Okay, so this is the new AC version 2 portal. It's powered by Sakai in the backend, but it has a new portal and a new set of tools to improve the user engagement and, of course, improve the social learning. So, questions? It's free. You don't need to pay for the questions.
There's a question in the chat there, Miguel.
Yeah, Chuck. It's a question from Chuck. Is this something designed for the broad community? Yes, of course. Most of the developments, the intention of most of the developments is to contribute them. But of course, since there's a new portal, new components, new UIs, maybe it clashes with existing tools and may require discussions. But of course, AC is open to contribute the changes, and of course, Noodle Partners is open to contribute the changes. But as you need to understand, there's a big gap, big difference between the tools, the existing UI and the new UI. So maybe will require some additional work to make it possible. But we tried to contribute something for 20, but I think it was too late. I shared some messages in the lists, but looks like nobody was interested for 20.
Yeah, I can see why 20 needs to get out the door, but so one of the things that I mean, this reminds me of the Morpheus portal, plus. One of the things that I did in the Morpheus portal, and I mean, I started this in actually 2007, is I started laying stuff in so that eventually we could inline frames and do all those things. And there was code in there for almost a decade that sort of was kind of preparing for this. And I wonder if there is stuff that you could be sort of putting in that really doesn't destabilize too much UIs, et cetera, or are some of the things like the new memberships tool just going in, which makes it so that the sum total of all this is not quite such a lift to get to it. I'm curious about that.
True.
I mean, are some of these things going in just kind of sliding in general? I mean, this is a lot of stuff, or is all this stuff on its own branch, basically?
Well, we have it at the top of a 12th version.
Right, but is some of the new stuff made it to master yet, or is everything new sitting out on the ACE branch?
It's in AC, in the AC branch at this moment.
Okay.
I mean, we had only 1 year to create all of these tools. So
yeah, no,
there was time. Okay, I would like to see something new for 21, but we basically were too late for 20.
So then the next question that I think most, let's just say we're talking 6 months from now, maybe in June, about this being part of 21. I think that what would make people comfortable quickest on this is those schools who are using it not as a sort of a social system, but as an LMS. If you threw a bunch of courses into this thing in addition to these groups, would the UI hold up? Right? Would the UI hold up? Is there a button? I thought I saw a button in the Learn button early. I mean, you never showed what was under the Learn button, so I'm curious what was under the Learn button. I think we're running out of time too, and I know these things need to run on time. So.
Under the Learn button, there's the library. Yeah, the library.
Was there a library or a Learn button? I thought there was a Learn button at the top.
Yeah, but that's the library system.
There's a Learn button. Yeah, there's a Learn button as well, which we do have. AC are well known if you're an aspiring star in a university system and you've been highlighted by the provost or the chancellor or the board as someone that can eventually be the university like CEO, main person, and there's a fellowship that you can do. And so under there as well, there is a course under there called ACE Fellows, and it's very highly regarded. So you do a year-long fellowship where you go to another university and you tackle a problem for them with mentorship from the host university and your home university, and you come out of it with a fellowship, which is on a resume is almost as important as your PhD if you're going to become a university leader. So there are a couple of courses they've been running for several decades that will eventually be made into a program.
My question is less what's under there right now, but what if I put an introduction to Python and web accessibility course and a introduction to psychology? Is that the place that if this was used in a more higher education context, is that the place where all those courses would show up under that Learn button?
No, they'd show up in the library.
Oh, okay, in the library. Okay. I'm just curious. I just think it'd be really cool the next time we see this to see the new code. Like, what would it look like if we just dropped this in a higher education school, and with all the courses we have and all the structures and sort of no groups, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the answer is it might look gorgeous, right? That all might fall in somewhere in the UI that's different than where it falls in now, but it might be like better and delicious and wonderful. So I'd just be curious to see what it would look like if you put, a student with 35 courses in there. But I don't want to get us too long because we got.
Yeah, we're running over just slightly. Our next set of presentations starts at 2:15, so we need to give folks just a few minutes to head over to the next session. But thank you guys, Miguel and Julian, for showing us all of this, and it looks really pretty awesome. So I'm excited to see some of that incorporated into the core Sakai at some point.
Thanks.
Well, thank
we're
you.
very excited about it.
Thank you so much, everyone that attended. And if you have any questions, you can contact Julian or myself.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Welcome. Bye-bye. Thank
I'm
you.
going to go
everyone.
ahead and stop the recording now.